Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. Sunday NBA action. Memphis at the LA Lakers. Playoff implications for one of the two teams, and it's not the LA Lakers, that's for sure.
No doubt. You know, here's the greatest, because when I went to put the LA Lakers, you know, like their abbreviation for betting, LAL, but I put LOL. I was literally laughing out loud, man. It's crazy.
You know, the Lakers, they're a team that obviously you either love the Lakers or you hate the Lakers, and so there's a lot of people enjoying this season and how bad it's been. You know, you never want to see anybody get hurt. You know, Kobe missing the season and obviously, or most of the season. But this wouldn't have been a good team even if Kobe would have played all year. Obviously, they wouldn't have the record they have, but they wouldn't have been a playoff team still, in my opinion.
Vegas, an extension of Southern California, sports, a lot of sports transplants here. Haven't seen any of those little Laker flags, you know, cruising around. Remember when they're in the playoffs? I mean, you see hundreds of them in Vegas, no less. People cruising around, and all their home games are on one of the networks here locally. So, yeah, it is kind of weird. And it's kind of nice, though, to see the Clippers. I mean, really first time that they've been up there and the Lakers have been way down there. And again, it's, you know, I understand the parity, and I know, you know, there's just some people like our producer, Barry Wong, that whine about the Chris Paul deal not going down for the Lakers. But, hey, doesn't much matter. You're where you're at. Get some more ping pong balls. We'll see how relevant you are.
You do realize that the guy that you just busted his stones is the guy that can shut your mic off.
Yeah,
right now.
I took that into consideration. I made sure this was my game, not yours. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hearing me at all.
You know, that's why you got your own show. You know, you knew that he couldn't pull the plug on you.
Hey, he could also, he could dice that film up, make me look real good, no doubt.
All right. Well, you know, Memphis, we talked about it. They're fighting for the final playoff spot. They find themselves on the outside looking in as we speak, even though they got a huge win last night against Miami. Hard-fought game the whole way, pulled it out at the end. Now you've got them trying to get in, trying to catch Phoenix. Dallas has kind of secured their spot. You know, a week ago, we didn't know who was going to be the odd man out because the three teams were tied. They were deadlocked. But Dallas went on a 4-game winning streak, albeit 3 of them were against 3 of the worst teams in the NBA, and to get that 4-game.
But they got the win against the Clippers, and that was the big one.
That was the big one, but also, you know, and we talked about this on First Preview Show today, the radio show, that Clipper win they got, and they went to L.A. and beat them, but they caught the Clippers having to play back-to-back nights. They played in Phoenix the night before and then had to travel back to L.A., so Dallas had a huge scheduling advantage in that one, catching the Clippers on a travel night.
Plus staying in L.A. to play the Lakers the next night, same building, so an advantage there, although they squandered an early lead. Second half, they took care of business in a big way. But when you look at the schedule down the stretch, Dallas has just the 3 games. San Antonio this evening, again, we're taping on Thursday. Then Phoenix, okay, so, but they get that game, but they get that game at home. Then they have 3 days off before they have to go to Memphis. They may not need that game, and keep an eye on that because Memphis may need that game. That's a crazy scheduling there. Phoenix at San Antonio and at Dallas. I call it the Texas 2-stop. And then they get Memphis at home, which will be for their life, and then they close at Sacramento. So we know that they've got to win 3 out of 4, Phoenix, to make the playoffs. Memphis, on the other hand, Philly, a gimme, and then they get the Lakers on Sunday, and that's why this is a huge game for Memphis. Then they're at Phoenix on Monday, so the day after the Laker game, they got to go right to Phoenix, and then they close against Dallas.
Yeah, so it's going to be a tough spot for Memphis, having to play Phoenix and then play Dallas.
But Dallas may already be in, so they may be resting.
Which that won't make Phoenix happy, and that's the problem with this.
Nor will it make anybody else above Dallas happy, because let's look, realistically, as good as Phoenix has played, and they've been the biggest surprise, and Dragic is solid, and the Morris boys are playing, but who do you not want in the playoffs? You don't want Memphis, especially if you're a high-scoring team like in Oklahoma City, because they're going to muck the game up. You got Marc Gasol healthy, and they're 33-16 in their last 49.
Yeah, and as we said, you know, it's a shame, but if you move, here's a team, Memphis, that right now, if the season ended today, they're out. They don't make the playoffs, and they would be they would be tied for the 3 seed in the East. It's sad the way the two leagues, how disproportionate, you know, the talent is between the two right now. But the East has gotten stronger in the last month with the rise of Brooklyn and the rise of Chicago. So before it was 2 teams and everybody else. Now at least there's 4 solid teams, and Toronto, at least you could put in the mix that they're
and
not.
Charlotte's playing great ball. Charlotte's won 9 of their last 13, and they are going to finish over 500. I like to see that. Looks like Washington too will finish over 500. So it's only the 8th team, Atlanta, more than likely, or the Knicks, that it's going to be well under 500.
All right. Well, you know what, Ken? This is your free pick. Let's go ahead and make it official.
Let's do it. And I'm not sure what the line will be. It really don't matter. The way the Laker defense is playing, and it is LOL. I mean, are you kidding me? 145 to Houston, 120, 107, 107, 124 during this 5-game losing streak. Again, the Laker fans, they just can't wait for the season to be over. They've lost 5 straight, 7 of 8. D'Antoni, lame duck, I don't know. Who knows if he's coming back or not. Nick Young, Gasol, Jody Meeks, Bazemore. Those guys will put some points in the bucket. They'll keep it entertaining. But how weird is it to watch the Staples Center when the Lakers are playing and see all those empty seats? Because realistically, you can't give those tickets away right now. And it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. And we know that Kobe hopefully will come back and this team will get back to being a proud organization. But it is good and humbling for those Laker fans to realize, hey, this isn't something that you can just, expect each and every year, and you've got to really appreciate what a dynamic player Kobe Bryant has been throughout his career, and that's why LA's been so relevant. Memphis, again, with Marc Gasol in the lineup, this team's the real deal, and I know those teams at the top, the San Antonios, the Oklahoma Cities, the Clippers, they do not want Memphis in the playoffs. They would love to see them out of the deal, and that's why maybe for the rest of those teams, they're hoping that Dallas kind of slides before that final game in Memphis so that maybe Dallas can take them out. We've got Conley. How about Conley? Does that guy take more off-balance shots and make them than any guy? I mean, it looks like he's going to fall. He's not even going to get the shot off, and he makes them. That guy contorts his body. I mean, he should be over here in one of these shows over at MGM. Zach Randolph, he's solid. Courtney Lee starting to get it together. Tony Allen, still to me one of the best defensive players. When I watch him play LeBron James last night, unbelievable. He's probably the only defensive guy I know that can actually take him, and actually be straight up, not leaning one side or the other, and play him at a key steal down the stretch there, and that helped Memphis. Memphis trailed in that game for a good 43 minutes of the 48 minutes before they got it together, and they got that lead up by 8-9, and then they end up winning it by 5 or 6 points down the stretch. But I think Memphis makes short work of the Lakers. Why? Because they will go into L.A. and they will play defense. They know the following night they've got a tough game against Phoenix. They want to make this game count. They know the Lakers are an easy pickings. They're going to come off the Philadelphia game. So look for Memphis to get 2 straight wins over Philly, and then the Lakers, and then the key showdown in Phoenix. Again, Suns are going to need that game and probably need it to make the playoffs. But I think Memphis, to stay alive, has to beat the Lakers, has to beat Philly. And I think they get those done. And that'll make for a great Monday night game, Marco. I mean, Memphis and Phoenix, that could be for that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And, playing, the one thing, I'll give you a pro and a con, just on my opinion on this game. We talk about teams that have nothing to play for, except when they have the chance to play spoiler. So normally you would want to, you could say, well, hey, here's a spot for the Lakers to rise up, play spoiler. But because they play defense so bad, in the games that they've won this year has been games where they just outscored somebody, had one of those crazy offensive outputs. But Memphis plays such good defense that if the Lakers struggle on the offensive end, and then they can't stop anybody on the defensive end, this game can get out of hand quickly, and that's where I'm looking at it with you. The only concern that I would have, and see how big of a line they put up here, because if Memphis does get a big lead because of the game they got coming up on Monday, my only concern is, do they sit people in the fourth quarter and leave the back door open, where the Lakers not...
How big a line you think this will be?
That's the whole thing. With Memphis here, they're going to put a couple points on it for the must win. Do they make them 7, 8 points here?
Right. That's what I'm thinking, 7, 8, 8.5. And again, when you look at a Memphis team that's not a real high-scoring team, but what they'll do is they'll shut down the Lakers because the Lakers are not in the mood to play defense. First off, they're so banged up. This lineup, they want to go out and trade buckets and score and see if they have a shot at the end, entertain the crowd. Memphis not going to go for it. Why? Because they need to make the playoffs. So they're going to go in blue collar, and they're going to have Tony Allen body up. They're going to be all over Bazemore, not give him wide open Jays. And if they do that, Jody Meeks isn't going to get off for 35 points. Not against Memphis. These guys are going to be down in the low teens, and they're going to be in trouble. It's just going to be a game that Memphis needs, and that defense, they've got a couple days off between the Philly game and that Sunday game.
Yeah. Because they're a defensive team, I like it. If they were a team that had need but doesn't play defense well, I wouldn't like the extra weight that they're going to carry.
Agreed.
All right, there you have it. Ken says to take Memphis, lay the points on Sunday over the Lakers, and that's going to wrap up the videos for this week. Tuesday crew will be back in next week. They'll get you some videos covering next week's action. We'll be back next week, Ken and I. If Brian's back, we'll see him too. We'll be breaking down. We'll start doing some baseball games here too, and basketball playoffs. Playoffs will be starting next week. So a lot of stuff to cover. We'll break it down next week here on pregame.tv. Have a great weekend, guys. He's Ken Thomson. I'm Marco D'Angelo. Cash some tickets this week. I'll talk to you next week.